I have a couple ideas for us today. Those of you that are watching, we've got a variety of silver and gold on the table that we want to kind of discuss with you. Coming right up. All right, so Andrew, I was thinking we should talk about the gold-silver ratio because, is right, but a lot of people
care about that
they
number
do
for some reason.
And the newer people,
it means something.
It means something to a lot of them.
They get so offended when you tell them that it means nothing.
All right, so first of all, explain to the viewer what the gold-silver ratio is.
So it's how many ounces of silver is equivalent to an ounce of gold.
So right now,
it's 80 to 1.
Yes, 80 to 1. So guys, that essentially means
right here.
Yeah, here, you got that? All right, so you've
80
got
ounces.
80 ounces would equate to one of these gold eagles.
What would you rather have?
I'd much rather have this, but so why do you say the gold-silver ratio is meaningless? Because, so those of you watching, 80 to 1, it wasn't always 80 to 1. History, I think, had it pegged to 9 to 1, and then it was ultimately up to 16 to 1. But we've seen it go as high as, I think, like 120 to 1, if I'm not mistaken, right?
You know, it's just not a number I've ever used in purchasing or trying to figure out why to make this investment. I never thought, the gold to silver ratio is this is a good time to get in right now. Like, you do when you make...
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I never do.
Yeah. So you're not a big gold to silver ratio?
Not at all. Yeah. And I know there's other content creators that swear by it.
Yeah, sure.
And they'll say, oh, I'm just going to take my silver, like when it gets to 60 to 1, I'm just going to go to my local coin shop and trade 60 ounces of silver for the 1 ounce of gold. And I try explaining to them too, it doesn't work that way
People
either.
Call me, ask me to do it all the time.
What do you tell them? Do you tell them F off?
No.
Now, can you try to shed some light to the viewers as to why it doesn't really work that way? You don't. People won't just walk in and be like, "Here, I'll trade
involved, you know, which is a huge. You know, they want to trade like these 80 ounces. They'll come with these 80 ounces and want to trade it for an eagle.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even for a gold bar, would you do it for a 1 ounce gold bar?
Do a trade?
80 ounces of silver?
No, I always do a sale or a purchase of one and then the other. It's two different things. Sure. It's not, you're not dealing with apples to apples.
That's what I always say to them. I'll purchase it and put it towards your purchase.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Right. And some people will then say in the comments, "Oh, my local coin shop will always trade." Yeah. Correct. Just go ahead, then do it. I mean,
use them for trading.
It's easy if it's easier for you and your coin shop does that. Great, but I haven't met coin shop owners or no.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Bring your 80 ounces. I'll trade you for an ounce of gold.
I've never come across those people, and so I would say. Some people would say, well, yeah, Andrew doesn't need to pay attention to the gold-silver ratio because his business is just to buy and sell gold and to buy and sell silver. He's not necessarily going to be looking for one to move in one direction or the other in order to make, to get out of one position.
I don't think you should either. You know, like,
they
really,
should.
I don't know. Have you ever used it?
Never, ever. I think, honestly, when I first started stacking, and I feel like I was a little less experienced, I was always paying attention to the gold-silver ratio.
Guy?
I was paying attention to it, but it still didn't dictate when I would buy something.
Right.
If I wanted gold, I would still go and buy it. I would just look at it. Now I rarely ever even look at the number, because again, like when you're buying and selling silver and gold, it doesn't really matter. Like, I'm buying this item, I'll have my premium on this particular item, and then I'll sell it. These could all be widgets. It doesn't necessarily matter, and I'm not looking to get out of one into the other. Now, some people would say it's a good gauge to see.
So where silver's at, I guess.
Yeah, and to see how strong one is towards the other one. Like, so if silver again is at 80. Like, okay, if you see it drop down to 60, then that means...
What's the highest it's ever been?
I think it was like 120
the
something.
lowest, I'm sorry.
Well, I think if you go back in time, I think the lowest was like 9 to 1, and then it was like 16 to 1,
really
and
off.
Historically way off. In modern times, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. But from when I started getting into stacking, it's always been around 68, upwards of 120,
Right.
and it's always stayed in that range. So I think Andrew and I, so we both agree that
Gold ratio is garbage.
yeah, it doesn't. It shouldn't dictate what you should buy. It should just be like, if it's just like an anecdotal number, it's important to take a look at for you, and you're just curious. Fine.
I never hear anyone talk about other ratios either, like the platinum to gold ratio.
No.
Platinum to silver ratio.
No.
You know what I mean?
I mean, essentially, you could
Why
make
is that number so significant?
right.
You know.
Well, I think too, right? Because I think gold and silver.
No, they go hand in hand, but still.
Well, I think too, like they've been the more, tried and true historic metals that we've dealt with as like humankind for thousands of years.
Yeah.
But you could essentially make a ratio of anything. You could say like silver to
apples
or gold to chairs. Like it doesn't. So I think it's. I also agree with you that it's like a pointless number. If those of you that are watching the video, if you disagree, by all means, let us know in the comments.
A lot of people get really offensive.
They get
those comments in
they
there,
get angry.
You know?
They get angry.
They don't want to hear that their sacred number
is a meaningless number. So I think for the gold silver ratio, if you're one of those few people that happen to have that local coin shop that will just do an apples to apples trade like that, then by all means do it.
Yeah, that's a good local.
That's
coin
a good
shop.
local coin shop. But
never happens here. That's for sure.
or with me, would you? Yeah,
Would you take an even trade? I'd love to hear that in the comments too. Would you trade the part of your stack for the gold or silver ratio?
Yeah. Wonder if they would. Probably they would. If it gets a certain number, heck yes, I
80
would.
ounces
They always also say, all right, when it gets to 60 to 1, I'm going to trade all of my silver and get into gold. And then when it gets back up to 120 to 1, I'm going to dump all the gold and get back into silver. And I've had people say in the past, I've done it before and I'll do it again. I've doubled my stack because of it. I'm like, okay, all right, whatever you say. But so that's what a lot of the people are looking at, is like getting from one into the other and back out again. And you could be sitting there for years, dozens and dozens of years to hit this magic number for you. And then when you think about like essentially all the money that you could have made just buying and selling that off, like how we do, just turning the silver over and the gold, like, I don't know. So anyhow, I think the moral of the story here, the lesson is, if you want to look at it just because you're curious, fine. Otherwise, I wouldn't pay attention to the number.
Don't make it part of your reason for getting rid of your stack.
No. Own both metals. By the way, why don't you tell them your website before we...
Bayshore Bullion Exchange.com.
Yeah. And I'm from Empire Precious Metals. Why can't I speak today? I'll fix that. And my website's empirepreciousmetals.com. And we will see you next weekend.
Have a good weekend.